8 o'clock it is, and you're watching Smart Means Business. This is your daily Kickstarter. Now, let's kickstart off with our business tip this morning. The business tip says you shouldn't focus on why you can't do something, which is what most people do. You should focus on why perhaps you can and be one of the exceptions. You shouldn't focus on why you can't do something, which is what most people do. You should focus on why perhaps you can and be one of those exceptions. So you're not supposed to be focusing on why I can't do something. Try to at least be positive and think about doing something instead, rather than being like the majority, because normally sometimes we all look at something in a negative angle and say, I can't do that. How about if we keep up with saying, yes, I can do this, however hard it does look like, and prove to the world that there's a lot more to positivity than negativity. And besides that, let's have a business quote this morning for a motivation. Now, the business quote is Ralph Nader. The function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not more followers. The function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not more followers. So as a business leader, your duty is to produce more business leaders, more business-oriented minds, not employees or followers who are to praise you for how far you've come. Develop others and give a helping hand that will clearly show that other people are also coming from you, or you are their father in business or mother in the same ventures. Now, besides that, let's get into our social media trends this morning. All right, now, our social media trends as of yesterday, Tanzania, with details regarding the fact that Tanzania removed expiration dates on national IDs. Gabriel Bule says Tanzania has removed expiration dates on national IDs because it would cause unnecessary inconvenience that would arise from the renewal. In Uganda, it can't happen because we are corrupt and we don't use that word. Death is the only expiry of a citizen, according to Gabriel Bule. And after Tanzania came up with that new plan. Now, Tanzania's Business Insight at Tanzania Insight with the tweet that how will Tanzania's economy fare after President Suluhu Samia's first term? Now, you look at the size of the GDP, for example. When Benjamin Mkapa was president in 1995 to 2000 in his first term, in 1995 he found the GDP at $5 billion. In 2000, by his first time, it was now $13 billion, an increase of 15.4%. Jakaya Kikwete, when he first became president in 2005, found the GDP at 18 billion. By the time he left by the time his first term ended in 2010, it was 32 billion, a 74% increase. John Pombe Magufuli, the late, came in power in 2015, and by the time he came in, the economy's GDP was $47 billion. He then in his first term turned it to $62 billion. That was a 32% increase. And then Samia Suluhu Hassan in 2021 found that GDP at $67.8 billion. Where will he leave it after John Pombe Magufuli left it at $67.8 billion? Where will she leave it? And I think by the look of things, Jakaya Kikwete looks like the only person who steadily increased the GDP to a very huge rate, 74. That was in 2010. At Hindu Salim, at Hindu hashtag Salim, underscore Salim with a tweet. Tanzania is the largest producer of coconut in Africa and 10th in the world. A tweet from at Hindu underscore Salim, tagging Tanzania, at Free Traders Tanzania, at Mjega Omar. Now, Duncan at Duncan Goodse with that tweet. Ugandans looking at Tanzania removing expiry dates from national IDs. I would presume the Ugandans are the lady in this particular picture, and Tanzania does look like the gentleman who's enjoying that particular chicken on screen. Now, Smart 24 Television and Smart 24 TV is saying hashtag Tanzania's government has given its approval on Tuesday for the construction of a $3.5 billion crude oil pipeline. Hashtag driving business. Hashtag Smart 24 TV. Furthermore, still on the social media trends regarding Tanzania, mother of passports at Just Rioba says, fam, driving in Tanzania with Kenya number plates is a mess. Every single cop will stop you. Na wako wengi. I wonder how the experience is for Tanzanians driving in Kenya. Well, I think that is going back to those who travel and use number plates or use their personal vehicles, for example, from Uganda going direct to Tanzania. Now we look at Kenyans.co.ke at Kenyans. Tanzania's economy was bigger than Kenya in 2001. Then Mwai Kibaki happened. Hashtag Kenyan state. Now, when you look at the size of economies from 1991, Kenya versus Tanzania. In 1991, Kenya had, that is Daniel Arap Moi as president. They had a 1.027 trillion Kenyan shilling worth of the economy. And Tanzania's with Julius Nyerere had 625.3 billion Kenyan shillings, if you're to look at it in that perspective. Daniel Arap Moi still in 2001, and on the other hand, Tanzania's was 1.712, Kenya's was 1.637, still short of that of Tanzania. In 2011, by the time Mwai Kibaki left, tell you what, it was 5.908 trillion Kenyan shillings worth of the economy. And the other side, Jakaya Kikwete had one of Tanzania at 4.369 Kenyan shillings in regards to the trillion shillings. Now, when Uhuru Kenyatta stepped in and left power in 2021, last year, 2022, was the time when Kenya got a new president. Uhuru Kenyatta left the economy standing at 13.911 trillion Kenyan shillings. It is the strongest economy in the East African community, followed by Tanzania's with 8.547 trillion Kenyan shilling. Now, Metro Bomini at Polo_Kimani says, if you ever happen to travel to Tanzania using a private vehicle, you are more prone to being stopped by rogue traffic cops because of your number plate. Wakitisa Zamacho. Ukitaka kudeal na vizuri address them in English. Watakufuza very fast. Hizo raya zinaokopa chizungu sana. That is according to what Metro Bomini says. So you have to make sure that you're bargaining a lot or explain yourself, and it's better if you do that in English and make it easier for yourself if you want to live, because it won't be easy for you to address them in English. They would wish you address them in Kiswahili. Metro Bomini with that tweet at Polo_Kimani. So still, that is another big complaint in Tanzania. If I'm to look at that, pretty much when it comes to the fact that moving in Tanzania, you should be able to at least have a number plate that is Tanzanian with a T, I should say. Tanzania. Now, besides that, let's get back to Uganda meanwhile, as we look at health financing, especially in the insurance sector in Uganda. Now, by the look of this particular one, when we look at health financing in the insurance sector, one goes back to the fact that on average, according to findings, the daily wage of Ugandans is around 14,000. Not very many, by the way, especially those who work for companies or private sector and public sector mainly. That goes back to the people who are having white-collar jobs, if I'm to put it right. And most people have been advised to at least save in SACCOs for their health, because sometimes maybe the health insurance packages are quite high or expensive to maintain for some people. That is why for the common person, you get to realize that healthcare bills are very expensive, even when it comes to going just to the hospital now. Consultation fee, first of all, will beat you up. Then you sit down, remember, maybe pretty much you're supposed to buy a certain drug, more expensive, check up again, another fee. So these are some of the things that these are some of the things that make it very expensive for the health sector. But furthermore, some of the other people in health, they do believe it is better for government to invest in technologies for the health sectors and also create policies that will help this move so well, according to Ewan Samuel Mugisha, who's the CEO of Streamline Health Tech. But of course, if you're to look at this, why are people not insured? We wish to at least understand why are people not insured when it comes to health insurance. I would tell you, for one, that I was insured maybe during my high school and my primary. Back then, when it comes to health insurance, this takes me back to a time when I would clearly tell people that, well, health insurance does look like a viable call or a viable venture. If we are to start talking about insurance in the world, these are some of the things that we need to at least notice and focus more on, especially when it comes to rotating around insurance policies and everything. The other insurance premiums we should as well think about, regardless of the fact that we create insurance for the young, but also for our children's education and save for their education, but also looking at their insurance in regards to health, not only for the children though, it also goes back to, as well as it also goes back to the parents. Now, the other question will as well be, where are the possibilities of people saving together in regards to, at least discuss more about how insurance is done. And it is something we should be able to at least understand. But first, let's get deeper in understanding in regards to health insurance, and also why we need to be able to at least understand the health financing in the insurance sector.
So the average daily wage, according to the Ugandan statistics of Ugandans, the average is about 14,000 average daily wage. But actually the mean daily wage, average has these figures that somehow skew the average. But the mean daily wage is about 7,000 Ugandan shillings. So we ask families to save 1 day's wage in their groups. These are circles, women groups, work organizations, saving schemes, any group, any affinity group that you're a part of, you save that amount, pool the money together and access healthcare from a hospital in your location. The innovation is inspired by the work that our partner CISI Hospital has done over the years. We partnered with CISI since 2016, and they have built the largest community health scheme in the country. 40,000 people accessing healthcare at these prices. So we've been working with them and piloting this model at 2 other hospitals in the last 2 years. And now we are extending this to 15 other hospitals. And the goal of this project actually is to extend healthcare to a new 150,000 beneficiaries in the next 2 years. I think so. I am a strong believer in the power of community. I am a strong believer that if people can pool resources together, small resources, then they can afford healthcare for themselves. Just like the keynote speaker mentioned about the success story of Thailand, I believe community schemes, once empowered, will be the path to the national health insurance. Ugandans have to know that, of course, it's tough times. 30% of the households borrow money to pay for healthcare. 1.6 million die because they couldn't access healthcare. On African scale, 600 million people are pushed into poverty every year because of healthcare costs. You sell your only land to pay for healthcare bills. So it's tough times. So by being part of a group, and our research shows that 90% of Ugandans belong to a certain group, whether it's a border group, it's a women's group, it's a work organization, it's a saving organization. So your group, you can now begin pulling together resources and access healthcare from our target hospitals, and that's what we are doing. So when you fall sick, you know where to go and get health care. Yes, that's true. What we also see from our data is that people who don't have any insurance, the admission rates are double those who have insurance. It means that people who have insurance come to the hospital earlier and their conditions are treated earlier, while those who don't have, of course, have to first mobilize funds, and by the time they come it is too late and have gone into complications. So for the mother in the village, just like the very many mothers, what I'm saying is we are coming to you. Today we have launched with 15 hospitals across Uganda, from Lira Gift Center in Lira, you can go to Chiwoko in Nakaseke, Kolonyi Hospital in Mbare, Rugarama in Kabale, Rushoroza in Kabale as well, Chisizi in Rukunjiri, Ruharo in Mbarara, Nkozi in Mpiji, Villa Maria in Masaka, Mengo in Kampala. So now those hospitals are now open, waiting for you to subscribe as a group and then begin accessing healthcare with premiums of 2,000 shillings per month. So from our math, our good community is one that has 20 households. So if you're 20 households, then you form a very good group that is ready to be enrolled. 20 households is what we are looking for, groups that have 20 households. You're doing your own business, you're already in existence, you're a women's group, you're a school, you're a church, your savings group, your whatever group that is already in existence. Now we can register you and you begin pulling this small money, and when you're sick you just access healthcare from our network of partners. Yeah, so that's what we are doing. Streamline, we want to be at the forefront of championing the National Health Insurance Scheme policy. We have invested hugely in technology. There is a lot of challenge with technology. We have built electronic medical records for hospitals, now in 42 hospitals all over Uganda. We have invested in technology for schemes to make sure they manage the schemes very well, fraud management, which is a very big challenge. And now we have also built a business intelligence platform that is powered by artificial intelligence to make sure that hospitals are top of the game. They know what to expect, they can forecast, they know how to deal with these trends. So we have built a strong platform that we think will be very useful. If the government wants to adopt this for our whole country, it is ready and we are going to perfect it. As you have heard from the keynote speaker also, we are championing huge research. We are going to involve ourselves in a random cultural trial of 8,000 households, and we want to understand clearly the drivers for insurance, the drivers for saving, the drivers for healthcare, and build on this wealth of wisdom. We believe that the findings we shall publish at the end of 2 years will also feed into the National Health Scheme. So we are strategically saying, look, we are here. We are working a network of 15 partners. They are going to enroll 150,000 people in the next 2 years, and that is massive. So government, we have to talk, because if we are successful and we are going to be, we'll have shown the path to the National Health Insurance Scheme. I think there are still policy things that are still being handled. Good enough, the parliamentarians are here today, the chairperson of the Parliamentary Health Committee is here. So we are still at that level of talking to policy and to government to see how national schemes feed into the National Health Insurance policy. So that's an ongoing conversation. But like other countries have done it, Rwanda and Thailand, we hope this is the path that government can take, especially for the Muntu wa wansi, the bottom of the pyramid, who don't have salaries and earn very small wages. This is, I think, the only path to the National Health Scheme for those people.
Well, of course, and as we talk health financing in the insurance sector, and of course trying to at least understand investing in technologies, furthermore for the health sector being one of the fundamentals that are supposed to be, assigned to in one way or the other. So Barita Andrew has joined me on set this morning to understand more about this same matter of health financing in the insurance sector. Yes, Andrew, good morning.
Very good morning, Joram. Yeah, actually, the last statement you made was really very profound about the aspect of, technologies in healthcare. Being in a tech field, I've gotten a chance to really engage with some of these people, and like people coming up with different applications. Actually, so far I've encountered one person whereby you can actually save money with it, but that money you use it when you're going to, in case you have a health emergency.
Okay.
But the challenge comes in, despite the fact that they are calling in for that, but these people face quite lots of competition, and they have their work is being hindered simply because when somebody comes up with such a development, another rival system as a competitor, instead of coming joining together, and it's for the good. It's in all sectors, not just the health sector. So in that way, because now these people that are having these mobile insurance apps, some sort of like they are substitutes for insurance. They do it whereby they ensure that the Muntua Wansi, the people that are down there who may not be able, they can easily, access this, because this is about financing for health. That time it's an emergency, but you need money to treat a certain sickness. So that's why actually so far I've encountered actually one person, and I've been trying to search through all those innovations which are trying to incorporate insurance in the form of, and majority are facing that like some sort of a backlog, regarding that. So that explains why it stands like the way it is regarding insurance. Now, I believe so much in benchmarking. I believe so much in East Africa. I think the country which has the best health insurance is Rwanda, because about 90% of the Rwandese have access to insurance. But then you may be asking yourself a question: how did this come about? Okay, these are people that probably knew that domestically they may not really be in position to achieve some of these.
Yes.
So they could make use of because in 2015 I remember the United Nations started a program. It was something to do with universal health, and it was part of the sustainable development goals. One of the ways to achieve the sustainable development goals. That was in 2015, and Rwanda picked on that. To the extent that the president was elected as the president of domestic healthcare financing. Well, I'm trying to bring this as a way of taking good use of these initiatives which are in there. If the locals are being suppressed, to try out to come up with these other forms of insurance to help these low people, but they are seen as competitors, they are seen as rivals. It makes me feel like we still have a long way to really perfect this sector.
Okay.
Just my opinion in that.
All right. And of course, one would still ask questions: where is the challenge when it comes to health insurance in Uganda? Because obviously, you realize maybe the insurance premiums look so expensive to at least to maintain in Uganda, and it's one of the reasons as to why most of the Ugandans tend to shun away from it. But of course, also going back to the fact that sometimes maybe lack of awareness of these available premiums, or at least the available cheaper options to save for health, or to at least have a health insurance package for yourself, your family, or your loved ones, and all that. This is something that we can actually consider of that. But of course, it also goes back to the fact that not all Ugandans can be able to afford, but some of the tech experts do believe at least Uganda should invest more in investing technologies for the health sector to at least ensure that Ugandans can easily start understanding more of this through different apps, and at least saving as little as they can for health, because in the long run you realize you may not be able to at least maintain the lifestyle you have. But if you've insured, you have a premium packet, you have a packet somewhere, rather an insurance packet somewhere, or you have insured your health, in the long run you can access some medical assistance or medical help when it comes to insurance. But besides that, also as we're heading into the break, just so you know that you can also invest today. You can start investing with using Zabo. Zabo makes it very possible for you to invest in securities and other particular products available. Now, amongst those includes the government bonds, that you can use to invest. And today, as you kickstart off your investment journey, Zabu makes it very possible for you. *92# is the USSD code that you can use. Quickly invest in government bonds with the platform. You can choose a preferred period for your bonds and make sure that it does make it count. So make it count, yes, indeed, for those who are out there, and probably it will be possible for you. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Zabu says, my money, my future. Otex East Africa, do something new today. It's 26 minutes off the hour of 8 o'clock. When we do return after the break, Barija Andrew does take us into entertainment business. Good morning.